Yesterday, we watched Zoran Mamdani pull off what everyone thought was impossible. He didn't just win New York, he flipped it upside down overnight. But that was only the beginning, because the moment he stepped on stage and revealed what he actually plans to do, it sent shockwaves far beyond the city limits. Within hours, Trump himself jumped in, warning that what's happening in New York could spread faster than anyone realizes. And now, we're watching a collision course unfold. A radical new vision for America's biggest city, and a former president who's not about to let it happen without a fight. So today, let's dig into what Zoran really revealed, why Trump's response was immediate, and what this battle means for you and the future of America. I've watched a lot of political campaigns over the years. Some surprise you, some disappoint you, but very few genuinely shock you. Zoran Mamdani's victory in New York City, that was a shock. Not just because he won, though beating Cuomo by double digits is no small feat, but because of what happened the moment the cameras turned on for his victory speech. For months, Mamdani had been out there campaigning as the soft-spoken, reasonable, democratic socialist, kind of like your polite neighbor who happens to have some unusual ideas about redistribution but seems harmless enough. He'd smile, talk about helping working families, acknowledge his socialist leanings, but frame it all in this non-threatening, almost academic way. Then he won, and it was like watching someone take off a mask. The speech he gave that night wasn't a celebration. It was a declaration against capitalism, against the American system, against everything that made New York the financial capital of the world. He stood up there and told millions of people that the system that allowed someone like Donald Trump to accumulate wealth and power needed to be dismantled, not reformed, not adjusted, but torn down entirely. He said the way to terrify someone like Trump is to destroy the very conditions that let him rise in the first place. Now think about that for a second. He's not talking about better regulations or closing tax loopholes. He's talking about fundamentally changing the rules of the game so that becoming wealthy is no longer possible. That's not policy tweaking, that's revolution. And the crowd? They ate it up. You could hear the cheers echoing through the room as he promised a new age in America. One where government controls everything, where private property is suspect, where the promise that you can work hard and build something for yourself and your family is replaced with the promise that government will take care of all your problems, big and small. If you've lived through the Cold War, you've heard this song before. The melody might be a little different, the instruments might have changed, but the lyrics are hauntingly familiar. Here's what struck me most, though. Zoran didn't just talk about policy. He talked about identity. He said New York would remain a city of immigrants, built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and now, as of that night, led by an immigrant. And he was very deliberate with his words. He didn't say a city of Americans or a nation of citizens. He said immigrants, over and over again. Now, I'm an immigrant myself. I came to this country because I believed in what it represented. Freedom, opportunity, the chance to build something that matters. But here's the thing, I didn't come here to stay South African. I came here to become American. There's a difference, and it's not a small one. When you come to a new country and you refuse to assimilate, when you refuse to adopt the values and culture that made that place worth moving to in the first place, you're not immigrating, you're colonizing. You're bringing your old world with you and imposing it on your new home. And that's exactly what Zoran seems to be advocating for. He listed off all these different nationalities: Yemeni bodega owners, Mexican grandmothers, Senegalese taxi drivers, Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian cooks, Ethiopian aunties. And, look, I love diversity as much as anyone. Different perspectives make us stronger. Different experiences spark innovation. But notice what's missing from that list: Americans. He never once acknowledged the people who were born here, who built the city over generations, who have deep roots in the community. It's like they don't exist in his vision of New York. That's not inclusion. That's replacement. And when you replace a common identity with a patchwork of separate tribal identities, you don't get a stronger society. You get a more fragmented one. You get people who live in the same city but inhabit completely different worlds, with no shared language or values to hold them together. And here's where it gets really interesting. Within hours of that speech, Trump fired back. 4 words, and so it begins. That's it. Short, blunt, ominous.